Warm welcome. So this one's not going to be too much about e-ink tablets today, I'm afraid. Just let me know that you're hearing me loud and clear, and apologies for the brief delay there. The reason for the brief delay is I really wanted to give another shot to the BigMe B13. I don't know if you were here yesterday, and I had a lot of issues getting set up with the BigMe B13, which is this e-ink screen on paper. It's absolutely wonderful, but I thought I'll get this set up and I'll show these mini PCs with the BigMe. And I plugged it in, and I did find that I could power it just fine through this power brick that I've been using. This one is I've got a whole video on this one. See, the Cucktech is the name of the brand there. It's one of these really quite large, sort of the maximum size you're going to get off a onto an aeroplane. And I thought I'll power it up, and then I saw this screen and I thought, okay, that's great, that's cool. And as I say, it's pretty good. Basically, it needs a 12-volt supply, which is a bit crazy. And here we go. I can power it off that. You notice on the Cucktech, perhaps you can see that it's got a 12-volt. So it's giving it enough power, and I can turn it on. I've got this screen, and actually then you can put it onto your Wi-Fi. Right, so that's cool. I put it onto my Wi-Fi, and then I streamed my phone to it. I thought, okay, no, I'm looking at this wrong. This was never meant to be a kind of portable e-ink screen, a portable low-power monitor. What it's meant to be is something that you'd leave in your home, power it from the 12-volt adapter that they gave you, rather than a portable power supply or one cabling it that I was really expecting. And then you'd be able to just go and, yep, sure enough, I could go. I'm not even going to demonstrate this because I've had enough with this for now because it's made me late, and that's annoying. But you can go to Mira on your Android phone or Screencast on iOS, and you can actually mirror your screen on there. So that's quite good, isn't it? That's quite good. You can do that. And I guess the idea then is that what you do is you leave it in a place in your room. And this is the use case I wanted to show to you right now. With this guy, this is really good. This is the Beelink EQi12, and this is a quiet office PC. I'm going to talk in a bit of detail about this, and I think that makes sense to me. What I would expect to do is be able to leave the 13-inch monitor, the e-ink monitor, on this type of place here, have a small PC like this, a quiet office PC, and be able to type away and have it as my e-ink computer. But that isn't going to happen. I mean, I think I will come back to it. I will need to, I think, read the manual a little bit and figure out what I'm not getting here, because something's not right. I might even get in contact with them and see if there's something wrong with my unit. But bit of frustration there. But okay, we can move on. And what I am going to show you all the computers on today, I'm going to show you all of the computers on this guy, which is the Uperfect. This is called a, was it called a T6? Let's make sure I get that right. It's called a T6. Okay, and you can see these obviously from links in the description there, and I will show you bits and bobs on my screen share as well today. And I'll start now. Shall I? Let's have a look at the Uperfect T6. I don't know if Uperfect is a brand that you've seen before, but I think it's a pretty compelling brand because they have not only this one. This one is a 4K display. It's 16-inch, so a large laptop size, but it's 1200 nits of brightness. Okay. And I'm going to be reviewing this, and I've already started making the video for that, and it's going to be coming out soon. But I need to test it outside because, as you can see, it's daylight readable. It's out there, so rather sunlight readable outdoor visual monitor. And I've tried quite a lot of outdoor visual monitors, and this one, this Uperfect monitor, it can actually be one cabled, which is apparently not as basic a requirement as I would have thought, because any kind of portable monitor at all, you would want that to be able to just one cable from your computer. So I'm going to use this monitor here today. I am not using it with just one cable right now. I'm using it with two. And the reason for that is because with one cable, can you see? I mean, it's only on 30 percent brightness. When you one cable this, it will stop you at 70% brightness, I think it was, because this thing gets very, very bright. Okay, too bright to be sort of pleasurable to use inside. But I've been running this where you saw me. I've been running this down at 30% brightness, and it's been quite good. So there we go. I don't think it's OLED, but it is a very bright monitor, and so that's the screen you're going to be seeing on there. And there's a link, obviously, in the description to that. Okay, and I go back just by pressing the power button. I think there we go. Okay, so cool. Any questions so far? By the way, fire in any time at all. It's really good to see you all here. A little bit of a different thing, but I'm enjoying covering these mini PCs because they're really good and they're really good value. So this is the Beelink EQi12, and the i12 stands for 12th generation Intel. You can open these guys up, and I believe there's a second M.2 slot in there. They're really good machines, and they're not expensive, and that's hence the title of this stream. Actually, if you're using any age of computer at this point, and you think, do you know what, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated with the actual performance of it, it's well worth looking at one of these mini PCs, because for less than you think, you can really replace a lot of that power. And I want to talk to you about today, I've got a new way that I'm going to start to use in my reviews of sort of comparing these, and yeah, we'll talk about that in a little while. And here is the Beelink screen here. This is the one that I've got in front of me, the i5 1235U. That's a low power processor, but it does have some pretty good performance for an i5 there. Now, I'll show you the charts in a moment, but it's got this Intel Iris graphics, and that's probably one of its issues, really. But why are these good? They're good because they've got the power supplies built in, so what you don't have to do is actually have a separate power brick. You'll see it's just going in by this one simple kettle lead, and the power supply is actually inside there. So it doesn't have to have a brick on the lead or a really big chunky power adapter. It's just the power supply is inside there, so it's nice and compact, and there's no big leads to carry around as well. And then they're very quiet, although they have fans. I'll bring it right up to the microphone now. I know it's not doing a lot, but you'll find you can probably not hear very much at all. But just let me know, by the way, in the chat. The one thing I'm always nervous about on live streams is that my microphone might not be coming through just loud and clear and perfectly. So please do let me know that it is. Now, you can also get different flavors. I think I've got the 1 terabyte, 32 gigabyte version here, but you can see that's still only £360 there. Okay. And you can go as high as an i7 for just £400 there. But hold your horses, because I've got something to show you on that front as well, at an amazing price point for the sort of performance you get out of these. So it's cool. It's like a kind of office, aimed at sort of office, but also some really quite high performance for this tiny little form factor. Good things from Beelink if you haven't come across them before. So any questions, do just fire in. Now, what I wanted to discuss is these sort of charts here. And what I've gone and done is I've gone and done not just the standard kind of few benchmarks, couple of benchmarks that I do with, normally I run Geekbench and use those, but I've actually done a lot more benchmarking lately. And this is my raw data that I'm going to share with you today. And we're looking at the Beelink EQi12. I'll just tell you the benchmarks, what they are. And what I've tried to do in this sort of 5-point chart is I've tried to think about an individual use case. And this, what I think about these mini PCs or PCs in general, it's very hard to just say, okay, who should buy what without some kind of sort of indication for each individual use case. So I've got sort of 5 main kind of use cases that you might have. The productivity use case, and for that indication, I've gone for Geekbench 6 multi-core. So it got 7,857, this Beelink EQi12, sorry, with the i5-1235U. And then for creativity, for like kind of light creativity tasks, I've gone for the Geekbench GPU score, which this is where this generation of Intel really fall down. So it's 11,368. And then I also did Blender benchmark. And again, you're not going to get great things out of this particular mini PC from that, 103.19. And then gaming, again, just 1,380 from this, because that's going to rely on the GPU and the CPU in tandem. And then for actual local AI models, I've used the Geekbench AI model there. And for that, I've used OpenVINO on Intel, and I've used, I don't have my notes there as well, and I've used, I think, DirectML on AMD. So anyway, back to the actual chart. This is the Beelink EQi chart then. So you get this kind of spider graph here. Now this radar plot, I think some people call it. I do have single core results, and they are going to be in the main review as well. Thanks, Neil. That is somewhere in my kind of chart, but I haven't kept those in this kind of comparison, because I think for productivity, the reason the multi-core appeals to me a bit more for the productivity is just having that ability to dot between different tasks. I think that's quite important for people buying an office PC, really. And this 32 gigabytes of RAM, let's not forget, at less than 400, probably is less than £300, but less than $400. I think it's a really good deal on 1 terabyte hard drive. But you can see for any of the kind of 3D GPU intensive things, you're just not getting anything. So good little processor, really probably wanting a bit more in terms of the GPU. I think that's quite a good start, really. That's quite a good place to benchmark. And I want to benchmark against the actual PC that I'm streaming from here, which is the i9 from a few years ago. So actually, this i9 was, pretty much top of the pile when I bought it, sort of 5 or 6 years ago. This is the desktop PC that I'm actually streaming from right now. But you can see now for productivity, it's a bit long in the tooth. Still, because it's got a dedicated graphics card, it still does have a bit higher on the AI inference plot there, the Geekbench AI score, and it still does have a little bit better performance than, it does have quite a lot better performance than the Beelink EQi12 for gaming, because of that dedicated graphics. And for 3D creation, it's just, it's just not there. The graphics card here is a 10 series RTX one, but for light creativity tasks, and I still do edit quite a lot, but I've recently just decided, no, that's me for editing on this main PC. And actually, what you've been seeing me edit on most recently, seeing me edit, that's a funny thing to say, isn't it? Actually, I've been using this to edit the GPD Win Max 2 to edit just about all the videos that you're seeing on this channel recently. So, okay, so that's the Beelink, great little company, Beelink. Do check out their mini PCs. I think there's really good options in each of their kind of model ranges. Do just go ahead and check them out. I'm just going to take 30 seconds just to unplug this one and bring in the next mini PC we're going to have a little look at today, and get that plugged in, and then I'll be able to tell you and give you a bit of a kind of understanding of, actually, not even that much more, you can get a lot more performance, and depending on which your main use cases, hopefully this will help you make a little bit of a choice of that. Okay, let me know, by the way, also if you if you are following the CPU numbering system and everything like that, because that is something that is well worth getting your head around before you consider upgrading your PC setup. Okay, so I'll just be back in just a few moments with that. Recently, my channel hit 50,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to each and every one of you who spend any time here watching my content. I'm always interested to hear what you've got to say, and I always value your comments and your questions to inform my content going forward. But I would absolutely love it if I could hit 100,000 this year, so please go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed, and let's run those numbers up to get to 100K in 2025. So as I say, what I really wanted to do with this was to leave this one just plugged in over on this side of my desk, just a separate little computer that maybe I could just have a focus time on and run that on the e-ink. But I don't think that's going to be as easy as I thought. And whether it's reliable, if I'm getting into issues with I'm getting into issues with, just getting the thing powered up and turning on and joining, then that e-ink monitor is not going to do it, is it? Here's a question about an e-ink tablet. So is Onyx Go Color Gen 2 good for Western comics? I guess you mean not manga, do you, with when you say Western comics? Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's a great little thing for comics. As long as your comics can be scaled to the right size, then I think that's it's really top. Okay, so let's talk about this one. And this is the Trigkey, and I'll just show that with a top-down view now. This is the Trigkey KI13, and it's actually Trigkey are a new company. You'll see some real design similarities here with Beelink, because they're actually a sister company to Beelink. But this is an i9 now. It's an absolutely different kind of class of processor. And I think one thing that is so worth knowing is not just look at the kind of like the code i9, Core 9, whatever, or Ryzen 9, but to really look at the model number. So this is a KI13, meaning it's a 13th generation. I'm just going to put in a keyboard and mouse as well, so I can actually control the thing. But again, this one now doesn't have an internal power supply. It's actually a barrel, you can see there. The power supply is actually on the plug. But so there's a bit more room in there, a bit more room for sort of more beefy internals and a bit better cooling as well, I would imagine. Just going to put the password in, so just give me 30 seconds. I'll just, whilst I do that, I will put the Trigkey screen up. And Trigkey is a pretty new company, really, and they're only really available on Amazon. So you'll find their computers links below to the Amazon page. And I'm actually using this little guy, this Trigkey. I'm actually using it to edit a whole bunch of videos as well at the minute. Okay, and I thought, well, both of them have today just done this kind of backup business, which I didn't really need to see right in the middle of a live stream. But that is the joys of doing live streams. Skip for now. And yeah, you can see I've also been testing out playing some games, and I'll show you the scores in a moment, because I think this is really interesting, this one. And you saw the price there, $469. So literally $100 more expensive than the previous one. And yeah, what I've been doing a lot of on it, I've actually been using Premiere on it. And I've actually been editing my videos on this. Because it's i9, it's got a good processor, it's got a fast processor, and it has been actually really quite a good time. It's not quite as good as the next thing that I will be showing as well, but it's pretty, it's a high-powered thing. And I've also put a second SSD in here, and I think that's quite important. Fast processor, fast RAM. This time, though, this is DDR5 now, and the previous 12 was only a DDR4 RAM, so fast RAM is not quite there. And you can see here's the thing here. Yeah, well, you're probably about to see that. So this is oh, cool, thank you. Yeah, so Neil's and 7. Am I coming out of quality? Haven't I? Is it glitching for you? Is it let me do a speed check. I mean, you can hear, if I start this playing, you know, that's at least 3 or 4 streams of, it's at least 4 streams of 4K right now. And it's not really come up that much. That's the speaker noise there, Neil. Yeah, so I'm not I mean, time when you actually ingest footage into the Trigkey, when you ingest footage into an editor, it really does put a lot of tax on the actual processor. So let's bring up the task manager as well here and see that. Sorry, I'll put the screen back up with it and play the footage again. Yeah, that's you can see the little GPU is really working hard to decode that thing. That's quite a little load now though. And I can feel the hot air blasting out, but it's not got particularly loud yet. Then it isn't really actually, it's not pushing it too much. Yeah, perhaps I'll have to look at recording that bit of sound in a full review for you, mate. Where was I? Let's have a look at the actual benchmarking then, because there's something really interesting, I think, about this particular generation. It's an i9, I think I was showing it to you. This one is an i9 13900HK, so it's a good processor, 14 cores, 20 threads. So some of those are actually performance cores, and then there's a few efficiency cores dotted in there as well. Let's go ahead and show you its thing. Again, you can see now we've gone from an i5 to an i9. We're a generation later. And incidentally, these are normalized scores. So if I show you the raw scores, they've been compared to did I normalize them against again? Yeah, this is my anchor, my baseline, if you like, to normalize those scores. I think I picked a sort of Ryzen 7 with a sort of 4070 GPU is what I sort of aimed at, sort of middle of the range, you know, good, decent PC setup right now, and then normalize them against that. And here's what we get. So, you know, decent i9 performance, decent sort of 80% of that Ryzen 7. But again, the GPU is really letting it down, especially in 3D render creation. So we have a bit of an issue there. And I get into this issue when I'm doing this rendering, when I'm doing video creation on it. There are times where I'm like, this is really slowed down. And actually, I don't know if you're aware of the channel Camera Conspiracies. He actually reviewed one of these, Casey from Camera Conspiracies, and he put it through his sort of video editing test, and he's all about the, you know, the 10-bit footage and the 422 and super slow-mo, high frame rate footage, and you know, he's trying to get the very best looking camera shots, and he just said no, he could barely get a few frames out of there. But you can see not all 4K. These are all 4K files here, overlaid, and it's playing just fine. And not all 4K is created equal. And these will be H.264, which this generation of iGPU will decode just quite happily. But when he's putting in, you know, Blackmagic RAW and things like that footage, or the high efficiency codecs and stuff like that, and H.265, then of course it's going to struggle. So what to do about this? And I thought, this is a device, this is a really good, the single core on this is absolutely stupendously good as well. So the multi-core performance is great. It's a great productivity thing. Overkill really for just productivity, as you can see there, but not good in the GPU stats. And actually I wanted this to be good for just gaming. So then I thought, well, I've been kind of interested to get one of these guys for some time. Let's try an external GPU. So I went ahead and bought this guy. It's off for now. This is the GPD G1. I don't know if you've seen these or heard about these, but in here is a 7600M XT AMD graphics card. It's a laptop class graphics card in a little eGPU box. And actually, this makes a lot of sense for me. And why does it make a lot of sense for me? Well, it costs about 500 quid. And I got it used for just over 400, but in really good nick, as you can see. And well, all it does is it just adds proper GPU power to just about anything. It adds GPU power to anything with either Thunderbolt 3 or above, so 40 gigabits USB-C, or this connector here, which is called an Oculink cable. And although the Trigkey can't do Oculink, it can do USB. I think it's probably 3.2 actually. It might be USB 4, but it's Thunderbolt 3. I think it's USB 4, but Thunderbolt 3. And actually, you can connect the Trigkey with a Thunderbolt 3 cable, a USB-C, straight into this Trigkey, straight into the eGPU, and then the things change massively. And so let's have a look at the chart for that. And I'll plug it probably in a moment. Obviously, this GPD, see, I'm probably geeking out quite a bit on GPD at the minute, but you can see actually it's going to do even better with the GPD Win Max 2, because the Win Max 2 has the Oculink port, which is not just 40 gigabits, but it's 64 gigabits as well. So you can see that port just to the right here is the Oculink port. And what you can see Oculink as being is really it's a kind of direct connection into a PCIe lane within the motherboard, the processor. Really what they use is they use one of the M.2 lanes, and then there's a connector into this. So really this is a direct connection. You can also connect this to the USB 4. And actually I've tried both ways, and actually I found the USB 4 works surprisingly well with this as well. But the G1, one of the main benefits, and one of the reasons why I went with this one over some of the other external GPU solutions that are out there, is because of that Oculink port. And I also thought, well, it'll just work plug and play with the GPD Win Max 2, and it does. And it's really, really good. And I can really vouch for it as a thing to get. But also, you think about what a USB 4 or a Thunderbolt 4 dock would cost you. Go ahead and have a look. And a lot of them are 300, 400 quid anyway. Maybe the 400 is a bit much, but 200, 300 quid, certainly. But the fact that actually it's not just a dock, not just a graphics card dock, but also it's a USB dock. Also, it can power the GPD Win Max 2 by USB 4 as well. So really, that's just my docking station on the desk, and it changes the performance massively. So let's have a look at the performance charts for that. Here it is. So on the left, we've still got the Trigkey itself before plugging in the G1. And on the right, you can see that massive increase, that massive change there. And yeah, I can tell you that it's much better for creative tasks. And, you know, my video editing, I've put in the category like creative tasks, because it's not like running 3D sort of things. I don't use a lot of GPU accelerated effects, for instance. I don't use a lot of like After Effects animations and things like that that really need an amazing graphics card to do that. I just need the computer to be able to read the file really quick, play it back seamlessly, and I'm going to have a really good time. Now, one thing also to remember is when you do plug in an eGPU, you're best to plug in from the eGPU into the screen rather than back into the computer. So what I would do if I was I'm not going to demonstrate this live, but I will put it in a full review, some things as well, but actually to run the screen off the little eGPU dock. Good question, Joe, which I'm streaming right now from this old Polycomp desktop i9 9900K. So it was a really good computer. It was, you can see 6 years ago, this would have been a really top draw computer actually. But this little Trigkey can certainly do the business, and it's even better. And I was really impressed with that. That is a 3D Mark Time Spy score there that it's got. And I can tell you that if you're interested in the raw 3D Mark Time Spy with and without the eGPU, they're there. We just freeze that. And you can see there the Trigkey without, this is the Time Spy here, without the graphics card, 2,143. But with the graphics card, you know, a whopping 9,586. So there we are. Okay, so that is a really good score. Like with, sure, yeah, an eGPU connected, but the actual PC that's running from is $460, $470, and that is a, you know, that processor coupled with a really good graphics card, you know, is a really good time. And you can see knock spots off my big battleship that is the desktop. Love that computer, great computer. That desktop has served me very, very well. So much of the channel has been made on that. I don't know why the sheet's gone so funny there. But finally getting long in the tooth. And I think when you realize that your desktop is getting absolutely knocked to shreds by a little mini PC and an eGPU dock, you probably time to upgrade that. So I think that's probably maybe a sort of January build. I'm thinking about going into that. So let me know if you're here for that. Let me know what you'd suggest I should go for. I think the sweet spot is about, I probably just want to get the best Ryzen 9 that I can sort of afford, the latest one, and I probably want to go 5070 Ti, that kind of range in terms of a graphics card. But let me know. I would be interested. Or do you think, no, actually I should just go fully in and use the just use the mini PCs? So what do you think? Let me know any thoughts about these mini PCs. Do you like this form factor? Is it something that you would buy, something that you've used? Have you bought Beelink or Trigkey before in the past? I think I'll just power this one down now and leave it at that. How about a little bit of an e-ink unboxing? Do you fancy that just next? What I would say is I just want to reiterate, really, I haven't still made a full review of this. I am really enjoying working with the small laptop here and just have it be my go anywhere. The HX370, that's the, I haven't shared the scores for that yet, is a really good processor. Currently, all of the mini PCs now with the 395 Max, the Ryzen 9 395 Max are out with an even better iGPU. And actually then, would you really even need to go? You're probably not going to get that much of an uplift by having an eGPU. I think it's fascinating where this is all going. And I think GPUs are something that with the sort of rise of AI and people wanting to do more local AI, I think GPUs and having multiple GPUs and computers and software being able to really use that RAM, that VRAM on those eGPUs and dedicated GPUs, I think that would be absolutely fascinating. It'd be absolutely fascinating to see that develop. And I think we'll probably see people building PCs with multiple graphics cards as a kind of standard. And I also think, is it the right time to build another PC? Because if in a couple of years' time for local AI, you know, I'm thinking, for instance, there's already lots of AI speeding up my video editing, and hence why it's a much better time once you add the eGPU to this, because it can already, you know, all the AI transcription, everything like that speeds me up as well. But when we get some proper, you know, they just, here's my sort of intentions for this section, please cut out these bits, highlight the bits, show this PC on the screen, show this camera angle, all of those things. I'm not talking about just make up the script for me. I'm talking about just make the things that take me so much time, make them a bit more automated. Maybe we'll be building PCs that actually can do that a lot more readily, and maybe maybe there's a race to make graphics cards affordable, more affordable, with higher amounts of VRAM, and so maybe now is not the right time to buy. Interesting. Anyway, thanks you guys. Thanks for you contributing. Definitely interested in mini PCs. Looking for something to replace a 9th generation i5 desktop. It'll fit nicely on my antique desk. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a very interesting one. Yeah, fit nice on my antique desk. Yeah, because I know what you mean. So like maybe what's the kind of best looking ones that are out there? Yeah, interesting one. I'll have a little think about that one. Yeah, I'm looking to cover a bit more of these mini PCs and computers in general, just for a bit of fun. Bit of a compromise. Mac Mini M4 was a bit of a revelation, as it's super quiet even under heavy load. Yes, absolutely. But in here, there's 3 terabytes of storage, and there's an i9 with that kind of speed there. There's, I mean, how much would you to get 3 terabytes of storage into your Mac? There's 32 gigabytes of RAM, a baseline Mac Mini M4. I know they're great deals. I do know they're great deals, but I think also the mini PCs are great deals as well. So I don't need to become a sort of partisan Mac versus chat just now. So I'm going to show you. I'm very well, thank you. How are you, AMT? Really good to hear from you as well. Hope that GCSE results day went well for you and your students as well, sir. And yeah, we're on to a new academic year soon, and I hope you're excited for that, as am I. Let's do 2 things then. I didn't show you the GPD itself page. This is the Win Max 2. So I know it says it's this price, but I got it for less than that by buying from their Indiegogo. I just had to wait a little bit longer. And this is the top spec of that I have, 64 gigabytes. You could easily get away with the 32 and the 32 1 gigabyte for a lot of people. Wow, that's a cracking deal, especially, sorry, 1 terabyte, especially as you can add a second SSD yourself in there. That's a great deal, and you see it changes a lot just to go up to the 2 terabyte drive there as well. And you can still get it in the Ryzen 7 flavor. Yeah, I know that product doesn't exist, that's why. So it's not a cracking deal, because you can't get the AI9HX370 in the 1 terabyte. You have to go up to the 2 terabyte. So pardon me. For the Ryzen 7 flavor, you can get that, and it's still a really good deal as well. And again, you can't go any higher than that in that spec. And then the actual graphics card itself is this one. And yeah, it's nice. Oculink Radeon RX 7600M XT, 8 gigabytes of VRAM on there. Yeah, it's good. I'm impressed with it so far. I haven't used it all that much just yet, but certainly I think for this type of thing, you've got a mini PC, but you want to be able to dock it and then take the same mini PC with you. Great times with this. Really enjoying this graphics card so far. Beelink's new HX370 based system looks really nice. Can't justify buying another PC at the moment. No, absolutely. I think you just have to wait for when you see one of those charts, like making you think, you know what, mine is lagging behind at this point. As you can see, this is the PC that I've been dealing with, the Polycomp on the left there, and just buying this Win Max 2 with the HX370. Here it is there. You can see more than double, no, not quite more than double, but almost double the multi-core performance there. Almost equal the gaming performance with a iGPU. AI not bad at all for an iGPU. Creator light tasks about the same, in fact better better on the little HX370, and it just, I mean, immediately it immediately immediately changed my editing experience. You know, plugging that into an external monitor and being able to also just go and edit wherever. You know, plugging into the big TV and just thinking, oh, do you know what? I fancy editing on that larger screen experience at 4K, and it just handling it. It's a really good PC. It really is. Really, I'm enjoying it a lot. It does have one thing. There's one thing I noticed about it. There's one dead pixel, and I don't think there's enough to complain about. And I notice it just every now and then. It's this tiny little pixel that occasionally is red on the screen. That's the one thing. Oh, and also the screen on it is 60 hertz, which is like it's a 1600p actually, but like basically 14 for QHD screen. And you're never really going to be running games at, beyond 60 hertz certainly on the iGPU on that kind of resolution anyway. So, the fact that it's only a 60 hertz screen is, it's one thing, but certainly it could have been a higher screen. But there's the Win Max 2 with the eGPU attached on the left there. So you can see now that's just blown away everything on these charts here, and it's really, it's just sure the Trigkey. You can see the difference that GPU makes. It really does. Anything other than just sort of productivity, that eGPU just absolutely fascinating. The thing that surprised me though, and the reason why this Trigkey is such good value, is because even the gaming didn't quite reach the standards of the Trigkey on the GPD. So it was close, but the GPD didn't quite get up to the level of the Trigkey once the eGPU was in. Cool. I'm gonna clear the decks a little bit, I think. No, I'm gonna leave it. I'll just take any last few questions at this point, I think, and I'll say good evening to you all. Let's Neil's gonna put me in my place as usual. That's always a good chat here. And you asked about the fan noise, and yeah, it hasn't been doing much, and the fan noise is still quite loud. It could have done with maybe just a quiet down button on it, a dedicated sort of shush the fans button would have been quite good. Like you say, it's pretty much idling at the minute. Thunderbolt 5 ports, storage is an easy fix, but yeah, it's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and the Mac Mini's got Thunderbolt 5 ports, which are, that they always do manage to put the best ports and things on that. I guess because they know you're going to have to live that dongle life, so it better be a good dongle life after all. What did you guys think of the Uperfect? Did you have a chance to look at the Uperfect link down there as well? They've got some really interesting things as well. That's maybe where we'll just end it. Let's talk a little bit more about this Uperfect monitor. Really quite nice. Comes with a little carry case as well, which, yeah, it's quite a large monitor for portability, really. But yes, you can one cable it. No, while that's doing that. And it's a nice stand here, and they have lots of options. It's VSA compatible there as well. So yeah, I think I'm quite pleased with that. Was it just $250 or something for a 4K 60 hertz screen? Let's just go back and have a little look at that. I don't know why you're flashing all the time, Neil. Is that coming on the live stream as well? So this is it here, the ultra bright, the UColor T6. Yeah, it's a good thing. They're an interesting little company. I didn't know much about them until they approached me and just wanted to send that out for review. And they said, have a little look. what you think. I think for gaming, you'd want something that was more than 60 hertz, but still 4K, you know, bright. It's really good. I have seen it here on the desk when sunlight's been streaming through. They also have this thing, 22-inch 3K OLED flexible screen. I don't know if you've seen this one, and that's not cheap, £2,500, but the flexible screen. I mean, there's lots of kind of duo laptops that are out there now that are under that. They're not flexible screens like that, but you know, that one might be a bit much. But they have these double screens. They also, I didn't realize they had these U docks as well now. They look quite interesting. Do like a lap dock. Yeah, I do like that a lot. And lots of choice there. There were lots of choice in like 4K, but smaller, but higher. Yeah, here you go. Or 3K, 120 hertz panel there. That could be a good balance actually for £260 there. Yeah, lots of, they're a company worth just having a little check out if you fancy a portable monitor. And I remember when 4K monitors not that long ago, a 4K monitor that was just like you know, 14-inch or something like that would have been £400 minimum. But you can see the T3, for instance, are really quite large, 3.8-inch 4K. What's the refresh rate of that? I'm imagining it's just 60 hertz still. It's just the AI product image is really real, isn't it? It doesn't tell you, so nothing to shout about. How heavy is the screen? Not heavy at all. Yeah, it's really pretty good actually. Quite pleased with that. Okay, cool. Just to carry on, yeah, you're platform agnostic, enjoy all platforms. Yeah, good to hear that. I'm sure at some point there will come a time for me and some form of M series Mac or iPad or something like that, and I'm sure I will be blown away by that. I was really interested. I mentioned Casey from Camera Conspiracies earlier on. He did a real exploration of Mac and Mac Studio and everything like that, and he came out with the kind of conclusion that his desktop PC with a dedicated GPU was still performing better than the M series chips. But still, the fact that there's even a contest between those is pretty impressive. And I think, you know, AMD and x86, maybe their days are numbered, and all of the computers I've been showing are x86. But I still think, you know, I didn't really mention the Snapdragon X Elite that I've tried. Amazing computer for productivity, but just, you know, the compatibility issues. And amazing computer for battery life and everything like this. But I think x86 for me is still in the Windows world at least is still the one to go for. All right, thank you so much for your time this evening, everyone, and I will see you all real soon, I'm sure. A bit more family holiday time next week, which is amazing. I can't wait for that. But thank you so much for sharing this time with me and your questions and input as well into the stream. It's always appreciated. Thank you. See you soon.